Hey everybody, welcome to our Tuesday night Q&A. See, Karen and Ralph is on with us already. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in our comment section, and we'd be more than happy to answer your questions. We've got a wide variety of questions tonight, so take notes, you guys. Take some notes. If there's something that's not that's confusing for you, just let us know. So, Keith, you want to go ahead and get started?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone had a great day. And it was good to see folks at the Shadow event Sunday. Um, but I do have some questions. So here we go. So, Greg, Jade has the first question. Jade had a question. Her question is, can you give a quick review on standard rehabs in Baltimore? And one of her questions about the rehab is, are you replacing electrical? Are you upgrading the amps in older homes if the amps are only 100 at 100?
And so, yeah, I think she asked me this yesterday.
Did she?
Yeah. And so, well, I mean, if the amps are, I'll say 100 amps or less, yeah, we're replacing them because houses just need more amps. And people working from home and uh, more flat screen TVs and Wi-Fi and all of that. Kids using all the technology. Um, you need more amps because you don't want to blow fuses and things like that. So yeah, and so in the older homes, they may have fuse boxes anyway. So the answer to that question is yes, we're replacing those. What was the
Okay.
first part of that question?
Standard rehabs in Baltimore. Like, I guess, are you doing full gut jobs or just
Okay.
basically cosmetic?
So no, so we're not. I'm not doing full guts. A full gut in Baltimore, you're paying probably two times as much for the rehab as you are for the property. And so for me, I'm only doing cosmetic rehabs. I really honestly I don't want my rehab over 20 or 30,000 in Baltimore. There was a time, and I explained to Jade, she's on here now, her and Tamika. I think I explained to her there was one time where I would put in a full HVAC system into the house, but I don't even do that anymore. Um, Primarily because of the cost and because um, it seems like the tenants take better care of a window unit than they do, a full blown HVAC system. Because with the full blown HVAC system, they've got to monitor it. They have to change the filters and things like that. And so, one of our colleagues, Marquise, he told me a couple years ago that he doesn't do that. He doesn't put in HVAC systems in the older homes. And so, I, after the last couple of houses that you guys saw, my renovations, those on Kinsway, um, I stopped doing it. Looks like Ralph has a question. When you end up paying for that on the back end, paying for no, there's no comparison, Ralph. So, um, and so I finished two properties on the same street off of Bel Air Road about a year or two ago, about a year ago, I guess. And those HVAC systems cost about $8,000 a piece. Um, a window unit might cost $200. If you put two window units in, allow your tenants to pay more. I mean, pay for more if they want to put more window units in. The cost, and the reason why Marquise doesn't do it and I don't do it anymore is because the cost doesn't. There's no comparison. The house is going to come with either baseboard heat or radiator heat. It may have a forced air heat system just for heat, but not AC. So there might be ducts in there already just for the heat. But the philosophy now is, even if you're flipping the property, is just to leave that system intact and then put in window units for the summertime, and then take those window units out in the wintertime, take them all the way out the house or put them in the basement. And the cost is just no comparison with the cost. And the tenants are used to that, and they're grateful for the AC units.
All right, Greg. Let's move on. So Tamika has some questions about postcard marketing. And her question is,
hold on for a second, Keith.
Okay.
So Jade has a question alongside of what we just talked about. With
Yeah.
the houses being so old in Baltimore, would you expect bigger repairs down the line if you don't add new electric, check plumbing? Absolutely. And so that's the reason why they even have, honestly, a couple layers of inspections. Because it's an older city, just like DC. And so things can go wrong. And so they come and inspect electrical, plumbing, your HVAC, the heating, and everything else, the roof, the carpentry work. And so, but the main three systems that they check are the plumbing, the electrical, and the HVAC. And so, yeah, I would fix them now. It's a lot cheaper to do it now versus having to go back in there and do it later. And so, yeah, you want to do those things now because those houses are so old. Maybe even change the pipes. Yeah, I would do that now. It's easier to change when you first buy a property. There's no one living in there versus having to go in there when someone's living in there.
Greg, was Jade on the line when you mentioned about not doing gut jobs in Baltimore?
I believe so.
Okay. Any other questions regarding that?
No, we can move on.
So yeah, Greg. So Tamika has a question about postcard marketing. First question is, how often should you send out the postcards to a targeted list?
So I will say the answer is once a month. I think for the first month you send it out twice, and then once a month after that. And the key to that is you should only do a postcard mailing if you're in it for the long haul. Sending it out for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, that's not going to get it. They got to get used to seeing you. And so the long haul meaning 9 to 12 months, and be willing to go through 9 months without getting one phone call. Other than that, I wouldn't do it. So you really have to be in it for the long haul. But the answer to the question is at minimal once a month.
Okay. I think you may have answered her second part. Her second part is, should you continue to market to them indefinitely, or is there a recommended time frame for when to discontinue?
Yeah, I wouldn't say indefinitely, but I would say at least for a year. And so it's a good question because you can direct mail is something that can be measured, and you can get what I call the analytics. A lot of people call it your KPIs, but it can be measured. And I forget what the numbers are, but I think for like every 10,000 postcards that are mailed out, so for you, your 10,000 may take a couple months. But for every 10,000, you should get about 3 or 4 appointments with postcards. And out of those appointments, you should get at least one deal.
I know at one time you explained to Greg where for 2 closings a month, you'd have to have about 20 appointments from those postcards being sent out to get 2 of them to the finish line.
Mm-hmm. And then that's just the mailing, and then there's some follow-up after that. And then with the postcards, real quickly, and I'll explain this more in depth at the boot camp, but it's not just sending out postcards. And so if you use a company like I use, like Postcard Mania, and any other company you want to use, not only do they send the postcards out for you, they also mail you the list. So you're going to get the list that they're mailing to, because you're actually buying the list. And then with that list, what I do is I send it to reiskip.com, and they send me back almost in real time, within 30 minutes, I'll say, that same list, phone number, email addresses, and social media handles. And so with the emails, you can email them. You got email marketing lists. Phone numbers, you can get a virtual assistant to call, or you can call. Then you also can use text message marketing to text them as well.
Yep, that works. That works.
Yeah, you want to have a marketing mix. And with that same list that you purchased to buy the postcards, you want to repurpose that list into other areas that you can market. And so you repurpose that by sending that to REI Skip. They're going to give you phone numbers. You can, if you like, or evolve into having virtual assistants call that same list. Like I said, text message marketing. We use textedly.com. And then you can use, I forget the company we use for the social media. It'll come to me.
Mm-hmm. All right, Greg, let's move on. So another question, comes from Ronald. Ronald asks, Greg, do you need a renter's license if you are using a property management company?
Absolutely. So a rental license and a property management company have nothing to do with each other. The city or the county needs to know that you're renting the property out. They want to know that you've got insurance and the house has been inspected, lead tests, all those kinds of things. And so this is kind of new, I'll say, within the last 10 years. Some municipalities just started like a year or two ago. But for the most part, all the jurisdictions that we deal with, you have to have a rental license, which like I said, has nothing to do with hiring a property manager.
Mm-hmm. And then Ronald's second question is, Greg, what is the best way that you see to navigate the high interest rate environment today for buy and holds and etc.?
So that's a good question. That would have been a good question for
Tarsha.
Probably.
Yeah.
Two ways come to mind. The first way is what I talked about last Thursday night, is to try to use some creative financing strategies to buy and hold some properties. That's the first thing that comes to mind. So now you're not getting loans. Now you're not even getting a loan dealing with a high interest rate. You're utilizing either their loan that's currently on the market, currently on the house, or if they own the house free and clear, they'll take back a note that's favorable to you. And so it's creative financing strategies that come to mind. And then the other thing that comes to mind is, if you find a good deal, you guys, you got to go for it. Just go for it. Our interest rates a little high now? They are. But you want to start accumulating equity with the high interest rates. And if you can get a good deal, you want to start now, because we always know what goes up must come down. So at some point, the interest rates are going to come down. I think we talked last week about, I think the Fed is supposed to go up on the interest rates one more time. I believe it's like,
right.
Was it May 15th or something like that?
Something like that. May 1st, I believe Tarsha said, something like that.
Yeah, and then they're not going to go up again. And so this year, it's being guesstimated. And so, and then at some point, interest rates going to come back down. So you find a good deal. Your cash flow might not be as good now, but after you refinance, it will be. But don't let anything, including interest rates, hold you up from building wealth, especially if you buy a good deal. We make our money anyway, you guys. We make our money going in, meaning we make our money when we buy the property right. That's really when you make your money. You get a good deal, you buy it right. Last property I bought in Baltimore, which was, I think it was in December. I bought it for $60,000. House is worth about 190. House is worth 190. Probably needs about $15,000 worth of work. I bought it right. And so despite interest rates, despite appreciation that may or may not come in the next 3 or 4 years in Baltimore, it's built in already because I bought it right. And there's lots of deals there just like that. And so we say we make our money going in, meaning we make our money when we buy the properties right. Don't worry too much about interest rates. Don't let that hold you up. You worry about interest rates. You say, okay, I'm not going to buy a house now because of interest rates. I'm not going to buy investment property because of interest rates. You wait, let's say a year from now, interest rates will be where it was, say, a year ago. You wait until then, and guess what? Because the interest rates are so low, you're going to have a whole lot more people looking at properties. And so now you're going to have a hard time finding properties. There's going to be more demand towards the end of this year, more demand. So you've got an opportunity now. You're not going to buy because of the interest rates. You wait until the interest rates go down. There's a higher demand. So now with demand, what comes with demand? The rules of supply and demand. When demand is high, prices go up. So now you're paying more for the house. That's Econ 101, Keith. Took it sophomore year in college.
I listened to you. I remember you saying also that, as investors, it's a long-term strategy that we must have. And
Absolutely.
so, like you say, those interest rates go up, they're going to come down.
What goes up must come down.
Yeah.
I think they made a song about it.
Yep, they did.
Was it the Temptations?
No, it was another group. It'll come to me. Somebody out there knows. Ronald probably knows. He's from our generation.
He's from our generation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Greg, Karen has a set of questions. I'll start with this one, Greg. Out of all of your lead generation activities that you've employed over the years, which one has been the most successful for you and why?
So that's the easy one for me, Karen. I'll give you two, because the first one takes time, but now it's networking, it's branding, it's I've created a referral-based business that takes some time, not a lot of time. Karen is saying Tyrone Davis sang that song. What goes up must come down. I could have sworn it was the Temptations. But I think it's so for me, it's the networking, it's the branding. Even now with social media, we do something on social media every day, so that's helping. Aside from that, I will say, I mean, honestly, everything that we talk about, I've done. Where have I found the most deals? That's just, I don't want to say it's too hard to answer, but you do have to get the word out, you guys. I bought properties at the auction. I bought properties from the probate office. Direct mail works. I would say that the direct mail.
I was going to say, I'm looking back at your career a little bit, Greg, and you've always employed that postcard, Redskins, magnets, all of that.
Yeah, that's all direct mail. So direct mail works. The reason why direct mail works, you guys, is because anytime you can target a certain audience, we're targeting an audience, what we call our avatar, our perfect audience. We can target our perfect audience, which is motivated sellers that might be in pre-foreclosure, or motivated sellers that are tired of being landlords. We can target those. And so anytime you can target a certain audience, that's going to work better than anything. That's why people spend money, including myself, on social media, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, because on social media you can target a certain audience for your product or service. And so that's why those work. And so I would say direct mail. Cynthia's trying to get into the singing game too. She's saying spinning wheels got to go round. Okay, Cynthia, I see you. You part of the generation. Let's see. Donnie's asked a couple questions. Let's catch up to Donnie. If you find a property and contact the owner doesn't want to sell, how often you call them back? It depends on why they don't want to sell. If they seem distressed, and I mean, you might want to say, can I call you back in 30 days? Or can I call you back, in 6 months? You ask them. But if you see that they're distressed, yeah, I mean, I would say every 30 days to answer the question. Okay, while the interest rates are going up, what kind of effect does that have on you trying to purchase a property? The effect that it has on you purchasing a property is the mortgage payment is going to be higher. The interest rate has a direct effect on your mortgage payment. So that's the effect. And so your mortgage payment is going to be a little higher. If you're buying an investment property, that's going to be the difference between the interest rates is the difference between what your positive cash flow is going to be, because we can look it up. We know what the rental is going to be. So let's say in a particular area, the rent's going to be $2,000 a month. We know that. You buy a house where today, because of interest rates, your mortgage payment might be $1,700. But next year when you refinance, so you got $300 cash flow, but next year when you refinance, it could go down to $1,300. Now you wait a year, you bought it with equity in it, and you wait a year. Now your payment, because of the refi, goes from $1,700, let's say $1,300 or $1,100. Now you got more cash flow. What's the best way to go about creative financing? And so I taught the class last Thursday. My favorite is subject to buying a property subject to the existing mortgage, leaving the existing mortgage on the property. That's my favorite. But we talked about lease options. We talked about joint ventures. We talked about owner financing, where the owner holds the note, and then we talked about just a combination thereof. All right. Any other questions?
Yes. Regarding follow-ups on your marketing, this is another Karen question. What other ways, if any, would you suggest after the fourth attempt to contact the owner? If you're following up, this has to do with follow-ups.
Yeah. So after the fourth, I mean, the only thing I can think of is, and so it depends on how you're finding this. If it's, let's just say, for example, it's you found this owner driving for dollars. And so I would send a letter in the mail. I would put a flyer in the mailbox. I would tape a flyer on the inside door, like open the screen door if you can, and tape it there. I would talk to the neighbors. You send mail because their mail may be, what's it called? There may be forward it to their home. You put a letter in the mailbox because they may be coming checking the mail. They may be coming checking on the house. So you put something on the window or inside of the door. But if you have the phone number, yeah, I would just call periodically. Like you need to put that on your list and have a follow-up list, and you call or have your virtual assistant call.
Yep. Greg, here's another Karen question. So a motivated seller is in pre-foreclosure, has a tax lien, and in an active bankruptcy. Is there any way to assist the seller?
Yeah. And so
maybe another question to that is there anything that an investor could get out of that? Can an investor get paid?
Yeah, absolutely. And so a bankruptcy is no big deal. No big deal whatsoever. And so we buy properties in bankruptcy all the time. It's just that the sale has to go through the trustee. And if there's any profits for the seller, then that money has to go to the trustee because that money goes to pay off the bankruptcy first. If it's like a short sale, then there's no money for the seller, so the trustee will just okay the sale. There's a lien. If there's a tax lien on the property, the tax lien just has to get paid off at settlement through the net proceeds of the seller, or if there's enough equity, if it's a great deal for the investor. I've had deals before where I paid the tax lien. And so we buy properties on using formulas, 70% of the asset repair value minus repair costs. I looked at what the tax lien was. I don't remember at the time. I don't remember what it was, but let's just say it was $20,000. When I ran the formula, included the $20,000 that I would have to pay, the numbers still fit the formula, and I paid the tax lien myself, even though it wasn't my bill, but it was still a good deal for me. So the tax lien is no big deal. It just has to be paid off at settlement. And the bankruptcy is also no big deal. You just got to go through the seller is really the trustee, the bankruptcy trustee.
Okay, I don't have any more questions that came in, Greg. Let's see here.
All right, you guys have any more questions? This is your time. We will stay here until we've answered the last question. Any more questions, you guys? Everybody doing good? This market is about mindset, I think. And so you hear a lot about what's going on in the economy, what's going on, with Russia, what's going on with, a number of things in the economy. Somebody told us Sunday at lunch when we took the group out, I think it was Sunday, that Walmart is closing stores across the country because they can't handle the theft. Like they're shutting down stores, and other big box, stores are shutting down, and Silicon Valley is just in an uproar. But if you find a good deal in PG County or in DC or in Baltimore, buy it. And that's the kind of mindset that you got to have. You can't have a lot of limiting beliefs that you talk yourself out of it. You can't have analysis paralysis that you overanalyzing and somebody else comes in and gets the deal. Or you can't have, I'm going to wait until interest rates go back down. Because let's say go down in a year, you've missed a whole year of appreciation, and you're up against a lot more people, more competition, where now you're going to have to spend more money to get a deal, because housing prices are going to go up. I mean, from a year now, even though we're in the market that we're in, houses are appreciating. I had a meeting with my agents last night, and the market is still good in certain price ranges. Still good. Still competition. Still multiple offers. And so the market is still appreciating. So we're not waiting. We get a good deal. If we have the means to buy it, we buy it. If we don't have the means to buy it, we wholesale it. It's as simple as that.
Greg, you raise a really good point, and even if you go back to, let's say, 2000, there's always going to be something happening. Everything from 9/11 happening to COVID. There's always going to be some. So I think when you say having the right mindset, eliminating distractions, and just be focused, I think people can, reach their monthly or their 6-month or yearly goals much quicker.
Yeah, we can't be afraid to make money, you guys. We cannot be afraid. There's people out here buying every day. And if that's not you, it's fine, but find a deal in wholesale. No shame in making 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 on a wholesale deal. I'm closing on a wholesale deal Friday. And me and another investor were splitting $50,000, 25 apiece. So there's deals out there. And on this particular property, it was a bidding war. It's in Woodridge. I don't think we went to this. We never went to a property on Randolph Street, did we? I don't think we took, or should have, but we didn't. I don't know why we didn't. But anyway, it closes Friday. And like I said, we must have had 5 or 6 or 7 offers on this property. And it got bidded up. Here's what happened, you guys. I didn't even know this until last week. And so I made the numbers. I wanted to be conservative because I'm hearing all what's going on in the market. Not a lot of cash buyers. So house in Woodridge off of South Dakota Avenue, Northeast, detached home. ARV is 800. After repair value is 800. I'm just cutting that in half and made an offer to the seller at 400. They took it. Make a long story short, I wholesaled it at. I said I put it out there at 425. Me and the other person who actually found the deal, we're going to split 25,000. I put it out there, you guys, at 425. It got bidded up to. Listen to this. It got bidded up to 450. I signed an assignment agreement for 450. Me and the person who actually found the deal, we're splitting $50,000. Here's where the story gets interesting. I find out, because we're getting ready to go to settlement, that the person I wholesaled it to at 450, take a guess at what happened.
He tried to get out of the deal?
Nope. Take one more guess.
Try to go behind your back?
Nope.
No.
I wholesaled to them for 450. They wholesaled it to somebody else for 520. 520. They're going to make, me and this other person going to make 50. They're getting ready to make $70,000. He wholesaled it. Yep. He wholesaled it. He put 70 on top and is going to make $70,000. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. But I don't know if I underestimated the market or they just found a cash buyer that was just willing to buy it at that number. It's a full gut. I felt like I did the numbers right. Obviously, it makes me feel bad. I could have, But anyway, we're still in that kind of market, you guys. So the moral of the story is we got to find deals. And if you can't buy them, it's okay, but you wholesale them. Or I will help you wholesale that deal. Yeah. Yep.
Maybe that end buyer, his formula he or she might be a little different, but maybe they're just betting on that neighborhood always appreciating.
Well, Woodridge does,
Yeah.
and there are comps in Woodridge that a year or two ago they were selling easily for 1.2.
Right.
Remember one time we took the coaching students out there.
I remember we saw Shantae's property that one time that was like 1 point something.
So this one is like 2 blocks up from that property on 22nd Street.
Okay. Huh.
And so yeah, and so what that says is that the market is still good. And so we got that question earlier, should we still be buying in this kind of market with these interest rates? The answer is yes. Someone put 70 on top of mine. How do you think I feel about that?
I think you're still okay making your 25.
I feel like I left some money on the table. No, I'm good. I'm good. Anyway, hey, I didn't even know. I asked the title company to send me the the final settlement sheet, the Alta, and I didn't even know they didn't even tell me. They didn't have to tell me because that contract's between them and their end buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, Jada, I wholesale to him. He turns around and wholesales it to somebody else. Am I upset about it? No, I'm not upset about it. Did they do anything illegal? No, not at all. Now, I've been in that same situation where I was that person and it wasn't 70,000 I put on top, but it was like 25, and the person found out and they were upset at me. But they got what they want. They wholesaled it to me, and they made, I think, 20,000. I remember the numbers. I wholesaled it and made 25. They happened to find out, and they got upset at me. Like really upset at me. But you do what you can do. There's nothing illegal about that. Karen is saying, can you teach us to do that? And so, Karen, you don't know this, but we've been teaching you how to do it. The name of that game is having a cash buyers list, having a really good cash buyers list. That's the name of that game. And maybe their cash buyers list at that time was better than mine. And they put it out there much higher and was able to, put some money on there for themselves. And so, Jade, where did I post it? I have this software called Investor. What's it called? It's not Investor Link. It might be called Investor Link.
Investor Lift.
Lift. So I put on Investor Lift, and so I have access to. I have an account with Investor Lift, so I put it there. You can Google it, investorlift.com, and so I have an account with them. So I put it on Investor Lift. I went to my usual suspects, and I couldn't get the number I wanted, so I put it on Investor Lift, and then I that's where I got my person. No, it doesn't make the closing process any longer. It's just adding another name onto the settlement sheet. There's deals out here, you guys, and so let's not procrastinate. Let's not talk ourselves out of anything. Let's look for deals. Yeah, Investor Lift is expensive, but like I said, I found that one person. I forget how much it is. It's expensive, but one deal. Like I went to my usual suspects on my cash buyers list. Nobody wanted it. I put it on Investor Lift and got $50,000. So that one deal, and I got to split it because I'm not the one that found the deal. But I can't remember how much Investor Lift is. But that one deal, probably because of Investor Lift, I was able to get that one deal and probably paid for Investor Lift for a whole year. Actually, I think Investor Lift is 5,000 for the year, and you can make payments. You can make 12 payments, something like that. Something like that.
You
So
can
it pays for itself.
yeah, you can also get cash buyers. Maybe it's not as good as Investor Lift, but PropStream, you can find cash buyers.
I'm surprised Karen didn't beat you to that. But yeah, and so you can do the same thing. So that property, I could have put that property on PropStream and asked for cash buyers. Same thing as Investor Lift. Investor Lift is more robust. Investor Lift was what like Brad Chandler uses from Express Home Buyers. Four Brothers uses. They use Investor Lift. You'll see when they send out an email or text, the link, it'll have Investor Lift in the link. And then there's a bunch of others, more national people that use Investor Lift. And so Freedom Soft as well. Okay. All right. Any other questions, you guys? Any other questions that we can help you guys with tonight? Yeah. PropStream. So Karen is saying PropStream can tell you how many mortgages a homeowner has. You have to click on the property. It's at the bottom. So PropStream is very, in my opinion, the #1 tool for the real estate investor. It has everything that you could desire in it. And so I would highly recommend, if you're not already using PropStream, to use it.
So for the Platinum Coaching students, I'll send you the PropStream link that you can get. We're affiliated with PropStream, and so they give you like a 7-week trial, but it's a really robust, CRM that you should consider having if you don't have it right now.
Let's see. Looks like we missed Donnie's question. Let's see. All right. So Ralph is reminding us of Donnie's question. Here we go. What strategy can you tell me if you want to try to purchase a property out of town from the DMV? It's the same thing. It just depends on where you want it. Let's just say Cleveland, Ohio. Let's say that you want to buy some investment properties in Cleveland, Ohio. You can market to them the same way, direct mail. You can in Target there. You can get a list. You can get a list from PropStream to call, or get your virtual assistants to call. It's all the same. The difference is you're not in Cleveland, Ohio, so it's going to be a little tougher to go back and forth. But the same way we market for deals here, you can market for deals there. So it's the same thing. All right. So are there any other lists? Yeah. So there's a ton of list providers. PropStream is one of the best, but then there's also ListSource.com, Listability.com, MelissaData.com. When I pull a list for postcards from who do I use? Postcard Mania. They give me a list, and like I said earlier, I send the lister to REI Skip, and they give me all the other phone numbers, everything else.
And Greg, also PropStream, they give you up to 10,000 leads a month, and they will skip trace the list that they would build for you. And I think the skip trace cost is like 10 cents per skip. If they can't find the person, then you don't get charged for it.
Right. Ralph is asking, are you and any other buyers interested in out-of-town properties? I would be interested in, let's say, 10 units or more. 10 units or more, I would be interested in. And so Karen, if you guys can read this, she's saying that she has a bird dog in North Carolina, and so she's sending postcards to those sellers there. And I'm sure Karen is just getting her list from. She's big on PropStream. Is there a way to get probates from Maryland online? And so, yeah, you can easily get probates from Maryland online. You just can't get online. You can't get like the personal representative's phone number or address. And so for that, you either have to buy a list or go down to the courthouse. But you can get who the deceased is. You can't get whether they own real property or not, but you can get if there's who the personal representative is. Are there any cash buyers for townhouses? Absolutely. We buy a ton of townhouses, row houses, all the above. Actually, I'm going to do a post hopefully tomorrow on buying condos as investment properties. All right, I think we're there. I think we're good, Keith.
Okay. Good questions today.
And so look, you guys, those that are local, we're having a lunch and learn on Friday, centered around building a powerful real estate portfolio using Section 8 tenants, Section 8 housing. And we're going to have a guest speaker. Joseph Asamoah is going to be there to talk about that. So you guys try to make that on Friday. He'll answer all of your questions. And so I'm a big advocate on Section 8. Some of you guys are, some of you guys are not. He is. He could speak for hours on Section 8 housing. So he's a guru. And so he speaks for us about twice a year. And so he's going to be there Friday. So come out with your questions. He primarily buys in DC. He doesn't buy in Baltimore. So he primarily buys in DC. And so try to come out on Friday and listen to what he has to say. I think more importantly, though, come with your questions. You got questions about Section 8, about the license, about inspections, anything like that. Write them down. Write them down tonight, tomorrow. And so come with your questions. And he's going to speak for about probably 30, 40 minutes, and then open it up for about another 30 minutes to some Q&A. And so it should be very good, very good. He's a guru at this, and he's got a lot of funny stories. And so you guys have a good time. You have some lunch and some good networking and all those good things. And then we do have the boot camp the following weekend. And so I just put together the final touches of the handout. And so that's going to be really good as well. And so we'll have a number of different speakers there. It's 2 days. Second day we'll be out in the field. You guys will get to shadow me. We went to, I think, 3 properties this past Sunday with our coaching students. 2 of the properties were opportunities to buy. And so we're either going to look at some really real live opportunities to buy, or just you'll shadow at either 1 or 2 of my properties or 1 or 2 of the other coaching students' properties on the 30th. And those are very good to be out in the field. You get to ask questions. We didn't go over repair costs, but we'll go over repair costs on the 30th. And then that all culminates into a luncheon that we'll have a networking session. I think it's in Little Italy. So I guess we'll be in Baltimore on the 30th. So we'll be in Little Italy, I think around noon for lunch, networking session. I think it's like a 3-course meal.
Yeah, Sabatino's. Yep. It's a really nice restaurant.
And so you guys can go to BennettBootcamps.com to register. Day 2 is filling up, is selling out. So I would go there. It's a Sunday. We normally don't do these on Sundays, but this past Sunday we had to cancel Saturday, so we did it Sunday, and then next one will be Sunday. But The training, in-house training is going to be good on the 29th. And then out in the field, the shadow will be very nice as well. All right, Keith, that's it.
All right.
All right, you guys. Let's go out and find some properties. If you can't buy them, no problem. Let's wholesale them. You need some help wholesaling, I'm happy to do so. Somebody reached out to me and said, can you help me wholesale this? She was happy to make $5,000. Friday, she's going to make $25,000. We're splitting 50. And so if you need some help, I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to look at the deal. I don't even have to be a part of the deal. Whatever help you need, we're more than happy to do this. All right. Yeah, this is automatically recorded on YouTube. So wait until tomorrow. It'll be up on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I think it's Building Wealth with Gregory Bennett. All right, you guys, take care. God bless. And we will talk to you guys soon. Good night.
Good night.